All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm doing just a weekend update because I haven't been on air all weekend. And today, Sunday, was supposed to be the last day of the so called peace talks that were happening in South Africa between the Ethiopian government and representatives from the rebels. So I'm going to wait until a few people just populate. I know it's an odd time of day for those of us in the United States, but for people around the world that may be tuning in, this is going to be just a quick weekend update with what I know about the talks that are happening in South Africa. I was able to get a few details. Welcome, Mohammed. I've got a little bit more information on what's going on the military front, and there's some new developments on the messaging from the Ethiopian government side. I've seen some interesting patterns in the mainstream media outlets. We're also seeing World Health Organization Tedros Adhanom just continuing to make up stories, and others in the WHO organization also following him. The midterms is also coming up, but on November 8th. I've been saying November 4th, and a lot of you didn't catch it. At least I didn't see that if you told me otherwise, but it's actually November 8th. I'm getting it mixed up with November 4th, the year this war started, which is also election day for us here, but it's every Tuesday. Welcome, Paulo. Elections are on Tuesdays, rather. They're not every Tuesday. Welcome, Robel, Mercy, Omar. Hey, everybody, Nagatu. Thank you for joining me again. I'm just going to do a quick update, weekend update. I'll try to do this on Sunday night when there's a lot of news going on. In this case, we're talking about the African Union peace talks that are happening in South Africa. They were supposed to finish on Sunday. It was supposed to be the seventh and last day, but I've got some developments on that. It does not look like these negotiations are over, and there is a chance they might not be over for a while. But what does it mean? So I'll be able to give you a little bit of context here, and then I'll give you more context um, uh, Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Welcome, Hanok, up at 2 a.m. to watch this video. Thank you. Thank you. What is time, right? You'll still hopefully be able to get enough sleep before Monday. Yes, hey, go DJ. I'm on Pacific time. You know why I'm up, you guys? I actually just did. I mean, I would actually be up at this time. It's 11:07 in California. But why am I up and looking ready for the camera? It's because I just did an interview with one of the Ethiopian media outlets on just status update. What's the diaspora doing? What's happening with the U.S. Government foreign policy? What should the people be keeping in mind as far as what's going on in the diaspora, the midterm elections? How is it going to affect things? So I just wrapped doing an interview with an Ethiopian media outlet, and I've noticed people on Twitter saying, "What happened to the peace talks? There's been no news about it." So I thought I would just get on here and give you guys a little bit of information so that you're up to date. And then tomorrow night, in some places it would be tonight, Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll give you guys more details and interview some folks about what it means that these talks are still going, the negotiations are still going, what are the possible outcomes. There's a solid team there from the Ethiopian government side. We know the 7 people that are there from the TPLF rebel side. 2 of them are very familiar to most people. The Generals Adkan and Getachew Reda, of course, the spokesperson. Mehratab, well, you said welcome. First of all, you said you want to talk about U.S. wheat politics. Oh, aid politics. As recent report, Merab says 90% tons of wheat of Ukraine transported to Western countries, while only 3% transported to Africa and Asia. Interesting. I'll look into that. Yeah, this whole wheat thing has been very politicized. Ukraine is apparently one of the largest exporters of wheat, which is something that I think the majority of the world, or the ones paying attention, found out about during this conflict. So welcome, everybody. This is going to be an update. I'm going to do the update, and then I'm seeing a lot of comments and some questions in the comment section. So maybe I'll answer some of those too. Why don't we answer some of those and then I'll give you the update? How about that? If you want it the other way around for next time, let me know. So Kubranekis said there is rumors Adkan left to USA. Rumors come and go, as we know. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible, but I think that is something that I would have known about from some sources, but it's possible. Remember, these kind of rumors about Getachew Redda being in the US and Saad Khan being in the US were happening a long time ago. And so we really don't know. Even Subhat Naga, I remember there was a rumor saying that he was in the US. Is he? Isn't he? I don't know. Um, I don't know, unless you've seen him in person in one of those places. I don't think most people know, or the ones who do know don't have the luxury to speak about it. So, rumors float around a lot, especially during times of conflict. It can be entertaining to listen to them, but you don't want to actually start believing them. But I'll look into it. I'll look into it because now that the talks are supposed to have been over, even though my understanding is they continue to go on, did some of them leave? Did they leave South Africa? Can they just leave South Africa after being accused of these major crimes they're accused of? Sammy said Debretzion's in my neighborhood in the U.S. No, I've got a good source that says Debretzion is in Tigray. He actually stayed behind, I guess, as the president of Tigray, whatever that means. Oh yeah, thank you so much, Yossi. Thank you for coming. What? Yeah, he was in the Starbucks. Someone screaming on Subhat. Okay, I don't know. I cannot look at these comments and just take your word for it. But it should be. It would be interesting to know if any of these TPLF leadership, including those like Sabat Naga that were released in January, are in the U.S. or abroad. Yeah, thank you, Subway. Thank you for reminding me. Like, share, subscribe, please, if you haven't subscribed already. As you guys, as some of you know, I'm going to be going on more regularly. We're going to do Monday through Friday, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern. So 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, with all stories out of Africa, top stories out of Africa, good analysts. We're going to try to get more stories in every day. Keep it moving. Get a lot of different angles on different issues. So if you haven't subscribed already, now's a good time. Subscribe. Share this link with others that you know in any of the group chats that you're in. And if you guys want to support independent journalism, please go to eoanews.com. That's Eyes on Africa News. So eoanews.com. You can contribute however much you want, one time. Monthly options are there too. And there's also patreon.com, patreon.com/Hermela TV. Or you can just subscribe and watch. That's also helpful too. So thank you guys so much for joining. I'll get into the updates in just a second. Yeah, Toruna was saying it's not true about Sabhat. Listen, rumors come and go. How many days in a row? How many days in a row did so many media report that Ethiopian National Defense Forces controlled Mekelle? Huh? How many days in a row? I'm not saying they're wrong, by the way. It all depends on your interpretation of what it means to control Mekelle Airport. So one of my sources that I talked to, I said, are they in control? Are they do they have this? Because days in a row, media, and some of them are media that I watch, Ethiopian media, are saying that Mekelle Airport is under federal forces control. And so this source, who's a good expert, said no. If the airport is in their control, meaning they have full physical control in a certain amount of radius around the airport, that's essentially saying you have control of the city. Now there have been statements giving out saying we are going to control our airspace, right? After the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said that planes were flying in from from foreign countries, and one of them was shot down, is what he said. assuming there were others that came in that weren't shot down. So after all of that, and right after this latest offensive by TPLF, what did the prime minister say? And several other statements actually from the Ethiopian government, and said, um, we're going to control our airspace, we're going to control our major airports. And so in that way, I think Mekelle Airport has been under federal control for a while now. But in the way that we're talking about military, boots on the ground, full security, no rebel fighters in the area, that they know of, I don't think so. Sammy G said, do you believe this war will come to an end anytime soon? If so, how? That's a really good question. I believe the end of this war will not be a one-time thing. Thanks so much, Knock. Appreciate the support. I don't believe it's going to be a one-time thing. I believe it's going to be a process, step-by-step process. There's so much of it is controlling Shira, controlling Aksum, controlling Adwa, controlling Maicho, and surrounding Megara, right? They've gotten to that. And I mean, I hate war. I can't say this enough. I hate war. But if there are heroes in this story, it's the Ethiopian National Defense Forces and all other forces who have stood up to protect their country. Again, I hate war, but there's a difference between an entity that chooses it arrogantly, knowing it's going to hurt the people, thinking it's going to be easy, thinking it can force the will on the majority of the people in that region, knowing that they themselves were not going to be the ones dying. It's that there's a difference between that kind of a war, or the people fighting that war. Thank you, Avis. Nobody with a healthy mind loves war. I absolutely agree. So there's a difference between, this unnecessary war that's being fought, and then these Ethiopian National Defense Forces and others in the region who've stepped up and have paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect the sovereignty of their country, which means to protect the ability of the country to be stable, to be at peace, to have a say in what kind of country they live in, to have a vote for who is leading them, all the way down to the different district levels, not just the prime minister. Yes, that's one important position, but there's so many other positions that people need a say in. I'm not saying the true democracy has spread everywhere. No, I think there's a long way for that. But in the absence of your sovereignty, there is no chance at democracy. So the people fighting on behalf of the Ethiopian people, that were fighting on behalf of the Eritrean people and the larger Horn of Africa, are, to me, actual heroes. But if it was up to me, we would never pick up a gun to solve any sort of political issue, ever, ever. And I hope that this is something that we've learned from this devastating war. It's ugly. There's no winners in it. I've talked about this before. I don't want a Hawalti or some gold, shiny monument saying we won this war. No, I don't want to see that. I would like to see something like the Vietnam War Memorial, not the Vietnam War, but the Vietnam War Memorial that's in Washington, D.C. That is just this black ceramic. Thank you, Brooke. Disarm TPLF and Free Tigray. Thank you so much for contributing. I don't want to see this, this pretty shiny thing that says, hey, that was all about victory. I want to see something that memorializes all the lives that have been lost in this war, and ones that are in uniform, civilians of all kinds that have died as a direct result of this war, those that have died because they couldn't get their basic needs as a fallout of this war. As many names as you can get. These brutal attacks that happened in Walega and different parts of the Oromia region. I want to see these things memorialized in a very somber way so that we are reminded how ugly war is and that nobody wins when it comes to war. So it's just crazy how many times we keep doing this in modern history. So with that said, let me give you guys some updates, and then I'll hopefully see you tomorrow night, Monday rather, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's about I have to do math right now, so it's about okay. Yeah, let me not do the math right now. It's a long time from now. It's okay, I'm doing 12. It's like 18 hours, you guys, okay? It's like 18 hours from now. I've got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, Sam. Oh, I don't know. Sam said, I don't understand why the US is back in the TPLF. I don't know. It's crazy. They just want control. They want control. Yeah, there's a couple of comments. Nothing new under the sun. I suggest you guys actually get different vocabulary instead of genocider. Please get some more details. Thank you all for joining. Dennis, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hanok. So generous, you guys. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get to it. I've got a little info. Let me have some water. Thanks, Samuel. Appreciate you guys. Hold on, let me see if I can get this out of here. Ay. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to just get like a repeat offender out of here. Remote. Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye. Oh, you're still here. I hope I didn't kick out the wrong person. Okay, we're just gonna put you in timeout until you have something different or a different way of saying it. Anyway, you guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you had a good weekend. Sammy, from your perspective, why do you think Horn of Africa have multiple wars throughout history? That's a good question. I think part of it is we do not have an accurate understanding of how wars started. I think that's part of it. So, for example, the TPLF story. Thank you, Nagash. Much appreciated. The TPLF story, or the EPRD. So the TPLF story, right? So they go into 1991. They're backed by the U.S. They go into power, and what do? They don't talk about how they got there because they're the winners. So they sanitize all the killing that had to happen for them to get there, starting with, thank you, Brooke Ethio. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So they sanitized the story. They didn't talk about all the loss that happened in Tigray, their own people that they killed to get control of Tigray and then eventually get backed by the US to come into power. And had they really said, had the truth come out about what it took for them to get into power, including, by the way, the 1980s We Are the World concert and fundraiser, right? They raised $100 million from Americans and Europeans and people all over the world, saying we're our people are hungry, they're starving, they're in famine, which some of that was true, right? But what did we find later? 95% of that money, so about $95 million. And this is from Martin Plaut, wrote on the BBC. Martin Plaut is essentially a TPLF spokesperson right now. He wrote this article in the BBC saying these rebels stole that money that they got the entire world together for to raise, saying that this is for our people who are starving. And of course the US is involved in that. You don't who is the TPLF? What's Ethiopia? What do they care? Back in the 80s, right? This is obviously a part of the capitalism versus communism, the US versus Russia war that was escalating by the end of the 80s, right? So you have the US all of a sudden take interest in the plight of this, particularly the Tigray region, that is under occupation at this point by the Tigray People's Liberation Front in late 80s, they get Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, all of these singers from really famous singers from the US. There was one from Ireland also. His name is escaping me. He's like the main one. And thank you so much, Mesfen, much appreciated. So they get all these famous names together saying, "We are the world and we are coming together and joining hands and raising money for look at these starving Africans. We got to come together and raise money." And they do. They raise $100 million. Yes, Bob Geldof, a part of actually exposing some of that, even though he was with them for much of the time. And then I think actually like is back with them. I actually don't know enough about him, so let me not go there. Anyway, I know the figure that he is, but I don't know enough to comment on him beyond that. What was it? Don't tell me it was Bono, said Zelan. I gotta get back to you. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. I gotta find out who it was. I'm blanking. It's 11:30 where I am, so excuse me that I can't remember. We Are the World. Okay. Who was it? It was who's an Irish singer? Was it Bono? We Are the World. Quincy Jones, Michael Martin. Okay. Who knows? Who knows who is like that main Irish singer that was a part of the We Are the World concert? Okay. You know what? Watch tomorrow night, Monday, to find this out because I can't find him. I can't find him. Anyway, I think Bono. Okay, enough people have said Bono. I'm gonna go with Bono until further notice. It's not YouTube. Acorn. Okay, enough people said Bono. Hold on. Let me just confirm. Okay. I'm gonna trust y'all on this. Anyway, thank you, Abby. Thanks so much. Appreciate your contribution. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit, okay? Is everybody ready? Let's do a little update, a little news update, conflict and negotiations update. Here's what I heard, okay? And this isn't a rumor. This is actually good sources. A lot of good comments tonight. So here's the thing. So the peace talks, all right? We're gonna get a few data points here. So the peace talks were supposed to happen from Monday through Sunday, which it's over. In South Africa, we're actually going into Monday morning, right? And so what people assumed would happen is at the end of that seventh day is we would hear, hey, they didn't come to an agreement. That's it. The peace talks are over. Or, hey, they came to an agreement and these are the terms, right? That's what a lot of people expected to hear. Me too. I mean, I wasn't sure, but me too. That's sort of were the two options that most people thought would happen. I did consider that they would just be radio silent from both sides, both from the Ethiopian government. Let me say three sides: Ethiopian government, the rebel leadership, and the U.S. because they're gonna have something to say about it. State Department, Secretary Blinken, right? So the third thing happened, which is radio silence. No one's saying anything. You don't see the State Department commenting on this. You didn't see the Ethiopian government commenting directly on the talks in South Africa. You didn't see the TPLF leadership, unless something's changed in the last couple of hours, comment on what's going on in South Africa. As far as the peace talks, thank you so much, Dave. So here is what happened, or what has happened, and this is from some good sources. The negotiations are ongoing. They're still negotiating. Both sides are going back and forth. And of course, the US is heavily involved, but the TPLF leadership, as you can imagine, is asking for things that don't exist or asking for things that will never exist, is what I'm being told. And I'm not able to get too much more than that for confidentiality reasons, but as you can imagine, the TPLF is being very difficult in their demands. Like I said, either wanting things that don't exist or cannot exist, or asking for things that are just beyond the scope of imagination. And the Ethiopian government is in a very strong position right now because the military front is still in the advantage, or on the side to the advantage rather, of the Ethiopian federal forces, the National Defense Forces. They still have all the cities that they had captured in the last 10, 12 days. And they're still surrounding Mekelle. And the question about why are they not going into Mekelle yet I think is an interesting question. And here's a couple of thoughts I have based on what's been said. So there was a tweet, and I'll pull it up for the show Monday night and show it to you guys to tune in, from the Eritrean ambassador to the UN, Ambassador Sophia Tesfamariam. This was, I want to say, some weeks back, where it was clear that the ENDF is around Mekelle, and but they weren't going in yet, or they were moving towards that, and so it might not even be a few weeks. So what she said, and I'll be able to pull up the tweet tonight, is essentially that the U.S. is keeping or like preventing the federal forces, whether it's through bullying or threatening or whatever, as part of the negotiation process, they're keeping them from actually going to Tigray during these negotiations. Will that change when these negotiations are not so official, which at this point they're outside of that 7-day official negotiation? Will you see the military front look a little bit different? I don't know. But what I do know is they have surrounded Mekelle. They do have some control over that. I've been told from a good source. I'm going to drink water, you guys. I don't know why. I had a lot of coffee today. It's been a long day. On the road for much of it. Anyway, so I've been told there is fighting. So there's some resistance outside of the city of Mekelle. But I do think the federal forces could have made the decision to go in, but that may not be so smooth, right? There might be some unintended casualties. And so I think they're being careful in that sense, which is good, you know? The more, unintended people get attacked, the more that could be used as propaganda. And we all know that the TPLF, I mean, they don't even need anything real to happen. They'll just, let me not go there. But anyway, you guys are seeing some of the videos that are out there, or some of the pictures that are evidence of drone attacks. I mean, they'll make up stories, so don't give them stories, is what I'm saying. And here's the other point, and this goes to what someone said about how do I think this war will end? I mean, I think it's going to really require, to some degree, some people from Tigray understanding what's going on and taking part in this transition. And so there's been a couple of efforts. Thanks, Joseph. I'm sleeping all right. I'm going to sleep good tonight. There's been a couple of efforts from the Ethiopian government and Ethiopian government officials, including Dr. Abraham Belai, who is the Ethiopian defense minister. He put out a statement a couple of days ago saying the solution to this problem will not happen without the people of Tigray becoming a part of the solution. And that's the people on the ground and the people in the diaspora, and really recognizing what the Tigray People's Liberation Front is as a political group, as a warmongering group. I think he called it outdated political parties and ideology, and asking the people to separate themselves from it. So one way, obviously Twitter, but Twitter is being seen by the diaspora that we see. Some of them are crazy, obviously. They're not going to be paying attention, but I want them to, by the way. Praying that some of them shift. And I see some trying, but it's a very aggressive, it's aggressive world. It's an aggressive fascist world that they have to live in. So I do feel for them. And so there was the statements that were put out on Twitter by Dr. Abraham Belai, the Minister of Defense. There was a point from the Ethiopian Communication Services, the FDRE Communication Services on Twitter, who put out a statement today saying kind of the same thing. We need the people of Tigray to separate themselves from this TPLF ideology and political group, that's how peace is going to come. And I will say this. I even met some people this weekend that really gave me some hope in that the loudest voices that we see from Tigray, or that, some of them, it's like one parent's from Tigray, the other parent's from somewhere else, but they chose to identify as Tigrayan because of this conflict. They have certain ideas, so be it, right? But I've I met, some people this weekend that were, one parent's from Tigray, others from somewhere else, or they have, they just don't identify so much with their ethnicity, but with their Ethiopianness, but really more from the people that are partly from Tigray or in whole from Tigray. It was so interesting to see that, oh wait, like there are people that do not agree with TPLF, that are have both parents from Tigray or one parent from Tigray, but they're not out there necessarily like myself, or um, my mom, who's, Professor Hargwin Asafa. Um, and I think it's just because of the position that I have as a journalist and the way that I was involved in the beginning. And my mom was there, so I had a particular stake in it. And I think the work that I do as a journalist gives me an advantage in terms of the role that I play in this. And but what I'm coming to find out is, yes, there are people that identify more with their ethnicity, whatever you call it, of being Tigrayan than they do with their Ethiopianness, at least starting with this war, for whatever reasons, right? But there's also a lot who understand, who have a more nuanced view, who understands what the TPLF ideology is, what they've been doing. Am I annoying you guys? Let me drink some water. It's like more coffee, more coffee than anything, than water today. Okay. Anyway, I'm going on and on, but the point is, the people of Tigray have to contribute to the solution process. A couple other things I want to touch on, and then I'll answer a few questions in the comment section, and then I'm gonna go try to sleep. I'll see y'all tomorrow. So the other thing is, who had Dr. Tedros Adhanom continuing to make up stories, continuing to accuse the Ethiopian government of genocide. By the way, he is one of the few people in those positions that actually uses the word genocide. Even Getachew Reddown, this is something that Kirana Afwerki, he's from Tigray, from Ethiopia, lives in Canada, and I did that interview with him where he used to be in TPLF when he was much younger, and he was explaining to me how he got into it and how they started to like brainwash them and tell them the people from Tigray are different from the rest of the people from Ethiopia, and why aren't you guys fighting for your independence like Eritreans are? They're Jugnoch, and what about you guys? You both speak Tigray, like all this weird indoctrination stuff. Anyway, that's a really great interview. At some point, you guys should watch on my channel if you haven't. It's some time back. Anyhow, so he was saying, look, Getachew Reda doesn't say genocide. He doesn't say genocide because he's apparently a lawyer by trade, right? So he knows he can't make those kind of allegations. So I didn't even catch that. But Tedros Adhanom, what does he care? What does he care? He has the entire World Health Organization apparatus watching him and saying nothing. And in fact, his communication director, or the WHO communication director, just follows behind him and says, yeah, genocide, Tigray. Doesn't care what's happening, doesn't care that this leadership group that he was a part of actually started this war. So I don't know where he's going to go from here. Let's talk about the mainstream media. So I've noticed this about the mainstream media. First of all, Nima El-Bagir is not around anymore to literally come up with stories overnight, where she's making these accusations of these mass casualties, very little context, says all these people were targeted because they were simply ethnic Tigrayan in this context of war, right? And has done so much damage to our communities because so many people base their opinions on this war, on the work that CNN's Nima El-Bagir has done. But thankfully for us, she's no longer doing the work on Ethiopia. She's been moved on to Ukraine, and there's just been a lot of resistance, right, from Ethiopians and Eritreans. So even CNN's going to go, okay, we can't keep using you on this story. Like the people just don't trust you. They're protesting outside of our offices saying CNN is fake news. This is a community that was never saying that before, the Ethiopians and Eritreans. And so eventually CNN has to make a PR move. So she's no longer reporting. And Reuters is being very careful in its reporting, basically saying, this war has increased concerns, um, of casualties to civilians, but they're not making, claims that civilians are just indiscriminately killed or targeted because of their ethnicity. The one article you guys will see floating around, though, is from the Associated Press's Cara Anna. Like, she just churns out this uncorroborated, lazy articles, and they let her. And so what she's saying is, witnesses say Eritrean soldiers did this. Witnesses say, I think she said something about houses were burned or like entire cities were burned. I don't know if she said it in that full. But even her, that's the best that she could come up with. And as far as Eritrean soldiers, I do not know if they're there. I don't. Um, I'm not saying that they're not, because I think that they actually have the right to be there because the Ethiopian government has a tripartite alliance for security with them. But as far as I know, they're not. As far as I know, and I'm really not saying that. I don't have any information to believe that they're there, at least in significant numbers. I know they're at the border, but Eritreans have said that they're not there. And we're not seeing any actual evidence of them being there. I mean, at least you can, make up pictures. We're not even seeing that from the TPLF activists, so it's just broad claims. So the media has calmed down. They're not doing the same level of propagandizing they did the first year, but I also do think the Ethiopian government is taking particular care. You see the TPLF activists spreading around this video that's allegedly of Ethiopian National Defense Forces just stopping their work on this war to burn a couple of little chica houses. Like, they're not even like, what is the point of burning that? And then they take that one picture, the one video that's allegedly, remember, TPLF was part of the Ethiopian army. So if I see people in the Ethiopian army uniform, I'm not going to assume that they're, especially from the TPLF propaganda outlets, I'm not going to just assume that it's true that it's actually Ethiopian National Defense Forces. The TPLF had 80% of the armament, which means a lot of the resources, including uniforms. So these guys are standing around, they're allegedly Ethiopian National Defense Forces, and they're burning one little house. And then people like Tedros Adhanom goes out and says, they're burning the whole city. Why? Because they say, burn the whole city. Oh, so somebody would, why would the Ethiopian National Defense Forces do that? Why would, even if they were to do that, which itself doesn't make sense, why would they record themselves doing that and then saying burn the whole city, but then they're not really even burning the whole city? In the video, whoever it is, right? So we're just done having to always be on the defense. It's especially with just an entity that continues to lie and lie, which is really, we did not see anything burning. I know, see me, we just saw some smoke. So they take, that smoke from that one home, and then they're going out saying we're going to burn the entire cities. Why? Why would they just burn entire cities? This is their country. They're there to defend their country on their land. Tigray is Ethiopian land. Why would they just burn people's homes? I mean, it has to make sense. The intention has to make sense. I know why the TPLF activists would record a video like this, and how it would be possible that they could record a video like this. Again, I don't know 100%, but I'm just going to use my critical thinking skills, and until I see something that flips a certain one way or the other, I'm just going to use history as a measure of which I should believe and which I shouldn't. And the TPLF activists have over and over again have lied. Thank you so much, Johannes. Very generous. They've lied about blockade while aid was flowing in there. Thank you so much, Bal. You guys are awesome. Thank you. They've lied about just not having aid flowing in when they've been hoarding it, and then they've been telling mothers that if they don't give up their kids or send their kids, that they're not going to give them aid. They lied to the world about genocide from the start. They kept making up reasons as to first they denied it forever that they attacked first, and then they kept making up reasons as to why that was a preemptive, you know, reasonable attack or justified attack. So I'm not going to keep believing that same entity. I'm sorry. It's not, there's a quote, I forget who said it. I'm not mad that you lied to me. I'm just mad I can't believe you anymore. That's the TPLF story. It's a story about the boy who cried wolf. I mean, you lie over and over again, and that one off chance you tell the truth, nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to believe you. And I've said this before. As long as the TPLF is in the way and are the only entity that are telling the stories of people from Tigray, it is not good for the people from Tigray, because when you have a liar as essentially your lawyer, like when you're, what is it called? To get out the back, or like it's when your lawyer is a known liar, you think he or she can go to court and fight for you and get you true justice? No, they can't. They can't. You have to have a reliable lawyer at the forefront speaking for you. And so the sooner that the rebels are out of the picture, and that there's some real commissions put in place to talk to the people of Tigray and figure out what happened to them, what do you need, who hurt you, if anyone hurt you, what do you need to feel secure, all these things, all these questions need to be answered. And that's why I say this war is not going to be overnight. It's a process. It's a process. Even people in Tigray that, don't want to go to war and they're hiding from being forced conscripted, they've been told that the Ethiopian government has been their enemy all this time. So it's a really difficult place for a lot of people. They're in a place of fear. So unless they have the people around them that are really encouraging them and saying it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine, this is the story, then they're just kind of living in a fear, in a place of fear. By the way, I've also been told a lot of the communication is happening through radio channels. And so they're communicating the same thing we're seeing on Twitter, which of course, like I said, only gets to the diaspora. They're communicating it through radio stations, saying to the people of Tigray, hey, like, please separate yourself from the TPLF. We're here for you. We're here to get your basic needs met. We're not here to hurt you. Please, put the guns away. Do not attack our forces. So they're doing all that through the radio channels. So thank you guys so much for joining. I'm going to take the last 10 minutes or so to answer some of your questions and respond to your comments. And let's see. The Ethiopian soldiers know the consequences of making such acts while filming it, so it's certainly not them. It's TPLF false flag. Like, who? Yeah, why would you do that? I mean, it just has to make sense. What else? Thank you guys for all the encouraging messages. Do you still have a good relationship with TYT host? Oh, yeah, I do. I do. I mean, I think we'll always have a good personal relationship, whether we agree on the politics or not. Yeah, Anna and I go way back. Jake and I, we go way back to 2011. I started working with them, and then left in 2013 for Al Jazeera America. What else? Thank you, Yashao. Thank you, Mikias. Thank you, Fikru. If I see a couple more questions, I'll answer them. Thank you so much, Ethiopia. All these are coming in so fast. Answer, please, why the Eritrean soldiers in Ethiopia. I've already answered that. We're not sure that they are, but even if they were, it's within the agreement. TYT has sold out big time since you left. I mean, they're different. I don't know what happened. I missed so I used to be on a show called The Young Turks, you guys, from 2011 to mid 2013. It was actually a really fun show to do while I was there. And I'm pretty, close friends with it's been a while, so I can't say I'm like close friends with them now, but it was an area where we were really close and we spent a lot of time together, and I still have, good feelings about them personally. But the last several years, their politics has changed, and we probably wouldn't agree on foreign policy stuff. But we don't have to. We don't have to. I mean, we all respect each other, so we'll leave it for now. What else? I think people misunderstood PIA, and it's happening again to PM. Yeah, I mean, there's President Isaias is I forget who that comment was. It already went up. But yeah, I think a lot of people would say, wow, like not everything we were told about Isaias Afwerki is true. I mean, that's not what we're seeing. So I think there's something to be said. Every leader, this is how I think about it. Every leader, especially with such a huge task of leading a country, regardless of how difficult it is. Thank you, Army. Is going to do some things right and is going to do some things wrong. And during their time as running government, some things are going to go well, some things are not going to go well. They're one person, first of all, so they could only have so much of a reach. And even if they've controlled everything, it's going to be a problem, right? So I think you can criticize every leader, but many of them, I would say, you can also see the good in them. I mean, I would I would I would even argue, I know for some people this is, maybe a triggering comment, but I stand by it. I would even say, Mela Sanawi had some positive qualities and things that he was able to do well. Um, I mean, he did start the dam project in 2011 before he passed away in 2012. We can talk about the why, but, um people, most people say he was brilliant. Did he use the brilliance in the right ways all the time? I don't know. But you look at what was left of the TPLF now, and who he was as a leader, and you just think he was, I don't know, he was way above them intellectually, in my opinion, than what's left. I mean, these kind of decisions are insane. How long do you think it will take to heal between Tigray and Amhara? I hope not long. I hope not long. I mean, here's the thing: a lot of us are so intermarried, and our families are mixed up. So, but on the ground, I don't know. I mean, you did see that people in the Amhara regions welcome those from Tigray without any issues. I mean, the people on the ground, those who are poor, are the same people. Are the same people. I mean, it's different when they're coming in with guns, right? That's a problem. I think there's gonna have to be a lot of reconciliation for sure. So I'm gonna take two more questions, you guys, and I'm gonna wrap up. Miratab, I hope the Ethiopian government learns from the past mistakes this time around. The Tigray, I went fast, but I think I know what you're saying. Yes, I did. I did. Oh, thanks, Asri. I did. I did talk to like a government source who said just that. We've learned. We gotta really take this with care, the way we're going into Tigray, the way we're talking to the people. Because here's the thing, you got to remember the way they went in November, emotions were running high. A war starts overnight. They hear that the Ethiopian National Army base is attacked and their fellow soldiers are slaughtered overnight. And so they're going in with a lot of adrenaline and a lot of just anger, right? And then the people on the ground have been told genocide, genocide, genocide. This is about genocide. Um, they're not saying, they're not telling them, hey, we attacked the National Army base, and they're responding to that, of course, right? Because that would make things too simple. They had been telling the people for years, oh, they're coming to genocide you. It's just a matter of time. We have to prepare for war. So that itself makes you're already going in as Ethiopian National Defense Forces and allied forces. You're already going in angry, right? Because of this treasonous act. Thank you, Sion. Thank you so much, Sion. Oh my gosh, $100. Well, thank you. So generous. Appreciate it. It's all going to the media, so appreciate that. to build it up, to build it up. That's the idea. And keep it independent. Keep it independent. So yeah, they're going in with a lot of emotions. You know, Ethiopian National Defense Forces, they hear about this attack, and then the people on the ground are there and they're acting like they were the ones who were victim, right? Like they're attacking the Ethiopian army, like they were the ones who attacked the National Army base, right? So that's why I do believe there were some atrocities on all sides, because the emotions are high and guns, everybody, like a lot of people have guns. It's a war. Um and I do hope there comes a time where we can really do those investigations and get some people some sense of justice, whatever that looks like. I do. On all sides. Dennis, do you think UN has a mandate to invade Ethiopia? Hell no. Hell no. No. No, I don't. I don't. You know, it's a concern. It's a concern from time to time, but not likely. I mean, when I did this interview with Lawrence Freeman, let me put a pin in that. Let me grab a couple questions. Do you think TPLF will talk the truth this time around? Never. No, I don't. Carmelo, with all those difficulties you experienced, how do you feel about where you stand and what you've learned so far? I feel good. I feel strong. I feel like some of the worst toxicities is behind me in terms of like the online conversations and stuff. I've learned to just handle it better. You know, I didn't always handle it well. So to your point about what was the question I was just answering? Oh, the UN invading. So no, so Lawrence Freeman, I actually asked him that, like, is there a possibility of military intervention? This is an interview I did, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday. So check it out if you haven't. It's one of the most viewed. I think people really appreciate what he had to say. So did I. And so he said, you know, maybe like a year ago when they were flexing their muscle, the U.S. and the TPLF, and the U.S. was talking about sending over soldiers, they might have invaded Ethiopia. But at this point, you know, with the TPLF being as weakened as it is, knowing how aggressively anti-TPLF the majority of the people of the Horn are, knowing that the diaspora can mobilize in a second, if they try to do anything, I don't think they're going to do it. They just don't have the consent. You know, manufacturing consent, it's called manufacturing consent for a reason. They need to be able to create enough of a story without a lot of resistance so that they could just do something without people noticing exactly what they're doing. And I don't think they could do that with Ethiopia. Are you kidding me? It would not be good. Someone said, your mom is a biochemist. How come you ended up in journalism? Because I did not like science and my mom knew it, but I really loved watching talk shows. We'll end with a couple of personal questions. How about that? Let's unless you guys still wanted, I think we've covered a lot of things on the issue of politics. I'll answer more non-political stories. So my mom is like a genius. Oh, thank you, Ethio. My mom is a genius when it comes to science. And I did not take after her in that regard. I did not even enjoy science, although now I enjoy it more. And so in ninth grade, I was taking chemistry, and some personal questions I'm not going to answer, but I'll answer some. So in ninth grade, I was taking chemistry, and I worked with a partner. God bless her. She loves chemistry, so she did a lot of our lab stuff, and I would just like hand her the little scalpels and stuff. So I had to do some homework when I got home, and I had a test to study for, a chemistry test. I was a sophomore in high school, and my mom was trying to explain it to me, some of the chemistry to me, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't understand it. I don't like it. She was like, kept trying to explain it to me, and finally, I was just like, I don't know. I just don't get it. And she's like, what do you mean? She was just like, it's a mental block. You're like, it's a mental block. That's it. Like, you can learn this, but you don't want to. And I'm like, I don't know. And I just started crying basically. And that's when my mom realized, no, I can't force this girl to do chemistry. And some of the comments. Anyway, so then I used to always watch talk shows in 2020 and, news interview formats, and I loved it, like 7, 8 years old. I was watching that stuff at a really young age. And I just love that process of like, them asking questions about people and their life and how did it, how did it how did they get in the situations they got into. Oprah would do some really good interviews. And so eventually when the time came in high school and people were asking what I was going to study, I was like, I think I want to study journalism. And my mom said, okay, go for it. Just be the best at it. Whatever you do, just be the best at it. Okay. David said, do I have regrets in life? Yeah. Don't you? Okay, what is this over here? Oh my gosh, okay. Bye. Anyway, thank you for the haters also for joining tonight. Okay, how do you feel oh gosh, okay, hold on guys. There's some good questions coming in. Let's let's segue from the politics. Professor Hargrave, thank you. When did me and Simon meet? Simon and I met through the work that we're doing, actually. How do I feel about the newsroom? Okay, that show, it's not real at all. It's a show, you guys, that was on HBO about the newsroom, like a newsroom. And it was not real. Those personalities, some of the personalities were real, but the scenarios that they created were not real. So I didn't enjoy it because it didn't feel real. How do you see Tigray most TPLF? You're gonna have to re-ask that one. I don't understand it. Question: are you able to reach Biden to discuss about Ethiopia? I don't know. I haven't tried. Let's see some TPLF questions. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about family, but thank you. I mean, I understand the curiosity, but I want to draw that line. Let's see. All right, I'm just reading, guys. This is just saying this isn't married, but I mean, this isn't Freudian slip. This isn't politics, but Hermela, do you think it benefits Ethiopia if the regime hired lobbyists in DC? I think they do have one. I don't know how good it is, and if that's enough. All right. Good night, Hanok. Okay. I think that's it, you guys. How do you see Tigray post TPLF? Oh, going through a reconciliation and an educational process. That's what I do. But eventually doing well and thriving. Where has your fight against Twitter censorship gone? We're gonna pick it up. We're picking it up right now. We haven't done enough, honestly, because we've been bombarded with the issue of this conflict. What do I enjoy outside journalism? I enjoy my friends. I enjoy family. I enjoy good conversations. I enjoy like some thriller stuff. Apparently, I enjoy Disneyland. I didn't know that. I love some roller coasters. It's a thrill. Now I get why people like it. Parks, being outdoors. I really like being outdoors. Who influenced you to switch to the good side? A lot of people actually. I was listening to a lot of people along the way. My friends, my mom had, of course, some to do with it because the stories she was telling me and what I was hearing didn't match. A lot of people, no one person changed my mind. Like that's the thing that some of the TPLF activists try to say, like, oh, it's because of her mom, or it's because of this person, or it's because of that person. No one person just changed my mind. It was a cumulative results of people in my life and new people and people I've known forever, giving me, their perspectives and me learning and asking a lot of questions from different people from all over Ethiopia, from inside, from outside, from, looking at the stories that were coming out in mainstream media, what was adding up, what wasn't adding up, there's a lot, there was a lot that I was listening to. And then finally I realized, oh my gosh, like this story is not what it's said to be in these outlets, in these mainstream media outlets. Okay. What? Okay. So, what do you, do you think this conflict will be solved soon? I do. I do. I just think there's going to be steps to it. Step one, step two, step three, step four. It won't be finished overnight. Do you plan to help the young African generation on journalism? Absolutely. It's my passion. I love seeing young people get into journalism. The more the merrier. The more the merrier. I want to see more Ethiopians and Eritreans all over different outlets. As much as I don't agree with the way mainstream media reports on foreign policy issues, you do get very good training there, like because you got to do stuff really fast and it's difficult and you learn a lot. You learn about editorial judgment and technical skills. So I think people should just go through that process. Go to CNN if you can get an internship. Go to ABC. If you can be a production assistant, a producer, learn what you can. Go up, move up the ladder. 5, 6 years in, do your own thing or join a more rooted outlet. But also you can also start with rooted outlets like Eyes on African News, Breakthrough News. It's up to you which way you want to go, but I do think it's good to go through the grind of mainstream media. All right, you guys. I'm not at my best right now, so I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope this gave everybody just a sense of what's going on. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be on tomorrow with several guests at Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday where I am too. So I'll be on tonight, Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll have several guests. Good night, Asri. Good night. I think I know who you are actually. You're even with your username. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your contributions. That was a pleasant surprise. Please continue to follow this YouTube channel and share with everyone. I promise we're gonna keep bringing you more things, better things in terms of content, better content, more guests, better guests. And it will only get better from here with your support. So please keep watching. Please subscribe. Please send to people that you think would be interested. Please suggest guests to have on. Please continue to comment and ask me certain questions. It gives me an idea of what to talk about for segments because I realize a lot of people are asking the same question. So thank y'all. Good morning in Ethiopia. Good evening here in the States. Have a great night. Appreciate all of you. Again, I'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's like 4 a.m. in Ethiopia. So we probably have to catch the recording. But thank you. I just wanted to do a weekend update, and I'm going to start doing this actually more. And I did an interview with ETV, which is why I was already good to go. I figured, why not? So thanks for joining. I'm glad you got some value out of it. Thanks for all your questions. I'll see you tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a great night. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Bye. Oh, hey, go to eoanews.com or youtube.com/Hermela TV and make sure if you haven't contributed, contribute there. Tell some folks who are interested in supporting independent media. It's not enough that we complain about the ones that are out there, but we have to create our own. Bye, guys. Bye, Yodits. Bye, Ida. Bye, Messi. Bye, everybody. Oh, man, all the good questions are coming in last minute. I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for tuning in. See you tonight. Bye. That's what happens when you don't use your mouse, huh? It's difficult. Bye. Good night, y'all.